I'm Wade Sankey. This is the Sankey Rodeo Show podcast from the cabin right here on the ranch in Sankey, America. It's not going to get any better than that. You just will go. Little introduction, Tommy Wayman. I'm thrilled to have you here. World Cup Polo winner, 10-goal player, and that's about all I know about polo.
Well, you know as much as everybody else. No. Oddly enough, it's a story that I'm not going to get into that. But as far as being around Ike is raised there in Wichita, around Wichita. I was raised around. That's where I started playing polo of all places in Wichita, Kansas. It's not known as a polo mega, but that's where I started. And then, obviously, growing up on a ranch, I roped calves, jerked some steers, and then got into polo every time there was a little rodeo around Hayesville, Derby, wherever. I'd go, and there'd be Ike, and I got to know him, just say hello. And then years later, when he got the bucket stock going to NFR, I ran into him at the NFR, and we just we were in the same area, but different professions at that time, and but knew each other and definitely respected what he did, because he was God around those little rodeos, and so that's how I met him and became friends. And then Wade and Roberta, I'd met Roberta up here, and so no, it's been that's where I started. Then I got good enough that everybody wanted to play with me, and so I went all over the world playing polo, from United States, Mexico, Canada, England, Spain, Argentina, Malaysia. That's a funny story about Malaysia, I'll tell you later. But went all over the world. And what made me a notch above everybody else was my horses. My dad was a horseman, and he had a little ranch, and my uncle had a little ranch, and he fed horseback, which you couldn't do today. And I'd go every weekend with him out of school, freeze to death going across those old bald hills. Mm-hmm. I've literally laid down in buffalo water, wind blowing 90 miles an hour, but sun. I lay on the sunny side of the buffalo water just to warm up while he was feeding.
Yeah.
It was not pleasant, but because he went, I went. I rode good horses. I rode bad horses. The bad horses made you appreciate the good horses. And what made the good horses, he knew how to do it, and he taught me that. And so when I got into polo, my horses were a notch better than everybody else's, and that was an advantage. And it's like anything else. If you're dealing with horses, you're dealing with animals. They can't tell you when they got a headache. They can't. You've got to be smart enough to watch them and tell when they're having a good day, when they're having a bad day. And that's why I think I was successful in it. And I won the Open 6 times. That's like winning the world. And I've got so many horses in the Polo Pony Hall of Fame. It's unbelievable. But horses is what made my career. So just like we were talking, God makes those horses. You're just lucky enough to find them. And talking about black tie, you're talking about Irv's legacy. Really, God put that in those horses. He puts it in the calf horse. He puts it in the steer horse, dogging horse, polo pony. Well, they just happened. God just looked on them boys as bucking horses, and they're proving His worth. So that's how I feel about horses. And like I had a famous horse. He's Sweet William, who came off a ranch north of Pierre, South Dakota. Best horse ever rode. That horse would gain speed for 300 yards, Polo Field's 300 yards, and he'd get faster every stride for 300 yards. They couldn't catch him. They couldn't catch him. My eyes would go to water so bad that polo ball looked like an aspirin. And you just swung where you thought it was. And I happened to be playing in the finals of the Gold Cup in England. And this guy, they hit penalties from the 60, 40, and 30. Well, he hit a penalty from the 60, and I met it. And I hit it hard as I could. And it landed about center of the field. I dropped his horse's head, and he had a mare called Angelica that was very famous, and she could run. Well, by that Angelica, and Sweet William was running, and he got behind me. He couldn't catch me, and I couldn't go any faster. I hit it center of the field, and it landed about the 40-yard line in front of our goal. And I'm flying. And I missed the ball. And I just shut him down. I remember dirt and grass coming over my head from him stopping. And that, I still remember that to this day. He stopped. That other guy blew by me. He's out there doing a victory lap. The ball rolled up right next to me and tapped it through for a goal. But I couldn't have done it without him. Mm-hmm. He made that work. That won the Gold Cup. So biggest tournament in England. So from then on, they knew who he was. But he would buck. And he just good bucking as he was anything else. And you got on him, and Polo Field's 300 yards. And I'm going to play him. I'd get on him, aim him to the field, and I'd run him as hard as he could run for 300 yards. I'd stop him straight, turn him around, run him back. It's any time you turn in between there, that's when he let you down. And there was no head. When he blew up, that head went back. You go off over his head, and you'd be looking back, that head would be between his back legs. And he was quick. Damn, he was quick.
Rookie move, just let my phone go off in the middle of a really good story.
No.
So I've only been around polo horses a tiny little bit, but they're fascinating because they're so much smaller than the horses I'm used to.
Right.
But they're so agile and they're so quick.
And probably the main attribute to a polo pony is their lateral movement, left and right. 99 horses out of 100 are better to the left than they are the right.
Okay, what do you mean lateral movement? Turning to the left
No,
or side passing?
Moving sideways, side passing.
Okay.
The ball's ball bounces to your left, you got to go left to get it. Go to right, go right. And mouth. Control is the whole secret to polo.
Yeah.
Because you get in so many wrecks, and I got to where if I couldn't get out, I wasn't going in because it hurts. And when you have a wreck in that kind of polo, somebody's going to get hurt. Mm-hmm. I mean, shoulders, back. I broke a vertebra in my back. That still bothers me. But no, you get hurt, and you think polo is a tame game. It's not, because every guy out there is cheating. And you're cheating just as bad as they are, you know. So it's I wouldn't say it's cutthroat, but it's right underneath. Mm-hmm. And they know your horses, you know their horses, and that's why I would put my good horses against their good horses. My second run against their second run, and I never had any third runs. I just didn't. I'd carry 9 horses for the 20 gold polo and under, and then I'd have another 9 for the open. And I never played them more than 3 months at a time. Played them 6 months a year, and they lasted for a long time. Never doubled up. I'd play them one chucker, 7.5 minutes, and that's a long time for a polo. Any horse to run like the Kentucky Derby's 2 minutes. Reining horse is 2 minutes, cutting horse is 2 minutes. We're asking these horses to do those same movements for 7.5, and let some idiot on their back swinging a mallet that, you know, they're going to hit them in the legs or chin or something, and to put up with it, it takes a hell of a horse.
Yep.
Yeah, and they, like I said, God makes them. You're just lucky enough to find them.
What type of horse are they?
They're, my dad always said a polo pony is not a breed, it's a type. We had straight thoroughbred horses, a lot of straight thoroughbred horses, but it was the type of thoroughbred horse we had. We didn't have the 16-hand, long-legged. No, my good horses you could jerk steers on.
Mm-hmm.
And I team roped on a lot of them as I got older. Kind of got sour in polo, and so we're in California for a couple of winters, and I'd take them team rope on them. It didn't bother them at all, and it didn't. You'd have to run about 10 or 12. Of course, it's just backyard stuff, but 10 or 12 steers, and they're ready to go, and they're broke, and yeah, I had a horse. His name was La Fortuna, which is the fortune, Argentine horse. They cut him late. He was on the track. This good friend of mine that raised all these horses named Dickie Santa Marina, best breeder in Argentina. And he's at the track one day, and they're breezing this horse. And when he went to pull him up, he saw something. He went back to the barn, lifted his mouth, the horse parrot mouth. He said, cut him and send him to ranch. He said, that's a defect. That's a genetic defect, and I won't have it in these horses. So I go there to buy horses, and these kids are crawling all over this son of a gun, and they're just doing anything they want to. And I said, Dickie, what's that horse? He said, oh, you don't want him. He's parrot mouth.
Which is what?
Overbite.
Okay.
Overbiting their teeth.
Yeah.
And in the old days, they supposedly couldn't eat, and this horse didn't bother him at all. So I talked him into letting me ride him. Natural. God did it again right there. And I was just lucky enough to shoo those little kids away from him, and I got him. And Dickie wouldn't sell him. He said, I'll give him to you because I ain't going to sell a horse with a defect.
Yeah.
Wound up being one of the best horses in the world. And when I got on him, he would run over a freight train. I shouldn't tell this story, but I will. There was a guy in Argentina. He was a cocky Romeo kind of son of a gun. He's 8 goals. He's a good player. He always combed his hair back, had it all slicked, had a big gold chain, and nobody liked him. But he'd cheat you. Boy, he'd cheat you bad. Well, he got me in a practice game in England and knocked me down and broke my back. And it took me forever to get even. We were playing in Palm Beach, in #1 field, big crowd, all that kind of stuff, which never did bother me because I was concentrating on the game. But I got him in my sights on that gray horse. And like I say, they'd hit him hard, he might change leads, but that's it. I hit him so hard, knocked him and horse down, broke that gold chain. There's gold pieces laying over. After the game, little kids were out there picking up the gold pieces. They blew a foul on me. Now, I should have got a foul. I got even, though. Payback's a bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and
Polo, not to interrupt, but polo is a full contact.
It is
sport.
It is, and we've had in the last 10 years, we've probably had 7 people killed.
Oh boy!
And one of them was a 10-goal player that
really
was a damn good player.
Yeah, and mounted.
Mounted,
yeah.
And he started to run. The horse stumbled, threw him over his head. He caught himself, flipped him, and then landed on it, broke his neck. This is a 10-goal fabulous player from Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And we lose one about every 3 years, and it's like we're talking about race cars. It's your time. It's your time.
I was just thinking that.
You can't worry about it. You just do it.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad told me when I started playing polo, and I was better than anybody else in Wichita, which didn't take much. But Dad said I didn't know if I wanted to do it or not. He said, let me tell you something. He said, you can stare an old cow in the butt all day, or you can go and play in front of the queen. What would you want to do? So I took the queen, and she was a nice lady. I met her several times, and she great horsewoman. And no, it's went all over the world. It's a passport to the world. Polo handicap is a passport to the world. And, you know, you meet ranchers in Argentina that play the game, play it well, because there's no rodeo down there. They don't have rodeo. So every ranch has a polo field. And Sunday afternoon, they all get together and play. Well, this particular place where La Fortuna came from, we'd start playing in the morning, but we'd have to quit so the cook could go get lunch ready, and he's about 6 goals, And so, no, it was. We first went to Argentina in 1971. My father-in-law loved fly fishing and polo. And so we built polo fields there on that ranch and had the best fly fishing in the world on that ranch. And we made a lot of horses. I mean, we raised a lot. I had 100 broodmares at one time. And raised a lot of horses, bought a lot of horses. And like I was telling you, it took me 6 months to ride the fences, to find the gates. And nothing worse than riding pasture and not knowing how to get out of it. And but there again, we had good horses. We had good horses. And we had some wrecks too. But first stag we ever shot was going up mountainside, and I shot him, knocked him down, and he got up. We trailed him, and Harold Berry weighed 300 pounds, but he was a 9-goal polo player, hell of a horseman, and so he said, "You go around, and I'll come down." So he tied his horse to the top, and it was pretty steep. So I rode around. We gutted the deer, laid it, getting dark, and he sent, "You go back up and get my horse. I'll ride your horse back to camp." Well, we were camped out there. Well, I got up there, couldn't find that horse. So my brother-in-law, kid, he come by on a pony, and so him and I rode that pony back to camp. And next morning, I got up. He went up to where he left his horse, and I got there, and the horse was laying in the middle of the stream, two broken back legs and a broken back. He walked off that cliff. And this is remarkable. That saddle was halfway down that cliff, hanging on a tree branch. It was growing out of the side of it. Both cinches were still together. Now, how that happened, I have no idea. Both cinches were still together, and that horse got out of it somehow. But you had to go 60 miles to a phone. And if I wanted to call my wife, I'd have to go there, apply for the time to call, and it's always 6-8 hours. She's in Wichita, Kansas, and I'd call and either be busy or she's out, and I'd have to wait another 6 hours. No, it was country. It was damn sure country, but I loved it. And like I say, we broke a lot of horses, made a lot of horses, and rode a lot of sorry horses, but not for very long. Got rid of them pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're traveling with minimum 9 head of horses from Spain, Argentina, England, Malaysia, how do you do that?
We fly them. And it's a trick. I told Ike about this, and I've told several people. That the trick that we had, the problem we had is horses quit drinking. And when they quit drinking, then they get colic, and they get plugged up. And so a vet from California told me to try it because he knew we traveled a lot of horses. He said about 10 days before you go, just take Coca-Cola and put in the water. And he said, it's not the taste that keeps a horse from drinking, it's the smell. And there's a lot to that. We started doing that. We never had a horse that quit drinking, flying from New York to London to Madrid. They didn't quit drinking. Our colics went down to nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I've told several people about it, and they probably laugh, but it works. You just about 10 days before you go, just take a can of Coke and put about a third in each water bucket or whatever you want, water tank.
Yeah.
And then on the road, keep that. And when you get to where you're going, take about a week to get them off of it.
Yeah.
And it makes all the difference in the world. I can't believe that you guys wouldn't try it as much as you ship these horses. Because the water in Sheridan is definitely different than here.
Yeah.
Vegas is different than here. And it's a smell, not the taste.
Well, and I've thought so much about this, and I know people have struggled with it in the past, but I think with us, we've got so many older horses traveling with younger horses that they'll teach them young horses to
I agree
drink.
with you 100% because those young horses are constantly learning.
Yeah.
And you think they're not, they are.
Yeah.
And that cut our problems to zero. Madrid, all that water in Madrid is from old wells and stuff like that. It's good water, but it's coming out of different limestone formations, and it's going to be different. The smell's going to be different, and it definitely works. It definitely works. And like your old horses, they're going to drink. It's those young horses that are a little nervous, going to the first time to the big show, that they're going to be watching everything.
Yeah.
And that's not smelling right. I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to back off.
Yeah.
And no.
What about papers?
Papers? Oh, my God.
Quarantine.
That's the biggest pain in the keister. Coming out of Argentina, they test them for pyroplasmosis, infectious anemia, which infectious anemia, they're dead in Argentina. They send them, they get rid of them right away. Pyroplasmosis is basically in Spain. If they get pyroplasmosis, you can take them to England, but you can't bring them to the States. And we've got pyroplasmosis here. We've got infectious anemia, Coggins. And I had 52 head in quarantine for 60 days. And they had A1 influenza, which is the common cold.
51 saddle horses.
Polo ponies.
Yeah.
In 60 days in Miami. Costing me an arm and a leg. And had a lot of them pre-sold.
How much is an arm and a leg?
These were costing me $20 a day at that time.
Yeah.
Now it's well over probably $200 a day.
Was this in the 70s?
Yeah, the 80s,
Okay.
early 80s. And no, then I had a plane crash in Uruguay with 16 head on. And I've got pictures of them walking them off the plane right onto the tarmac.
After the crash?
After it just ate the bottom of the plane. I forgot to put a landing gear down.
Forgot.
Yeah. I had one horse that hurt his knee. Other 50, they were sorry. Not one of them was worth a damn.
And that's a good way to tell if they're any good.
That's right. There's been a good one and he got hurt.
Yeah.
And but anything can happen to a horse I've had happen. And back to these horses in quarantine, they had A1 influenza, which is a common cold. So they're in there so long that they said, okay, find some horses that don't test positive to A1 influenza. We'll put them with them. If they don't come up with it, we'll let you out. Well, I couldn't find any horse that didn't have it. They'd already had, they're titered. They already had an immunity to it.
Yeah.
So finally, I said, okay, this is in Miami. And it was a kind of a scam anyway. But I said, okay, here's what we're going to do. Shoot the geldings and send the mares back. Oh, we can't do that. I said, by God, I'm going to get them out of quarantine one way or another, and I'm not going to pay this big prices. And I said, by the way, when you shoot them geldings, I want the news people here.
Mm-hmm.
They let them out the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you call her bluff, but it took me a long time to call her bluff, is what I'm saying. I had president of the jockey club, president of polo clubs, chairman, all write letters. Didn't do any good. But when you started, let's put them down, then they let them out. And I had some good horses in there too. They weren't the 16 that was on that plane.
Mm-hmm.
And but
What about the humane issues with polo? Is there any?
the PETA.
Yeah.
They're always around. They're always looking, and we don't break many legs, but when we break a leg, PETA's there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those horses are taken care of so good. I mean, they're in stalls, but they're out. They're out exercising twice a day, an hour twice a day, if you're not playing them. And they're fit. They're fed good. They're taken care of. Best vets in the world, polo vets, and but they're still PETA is looking for an excuse to. And the thing about PETA, and I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to, they got people who don't know what the hell's going on.
I agree.
And they'll come out, oh, you're mistreating that animal. You're not mistreating that animal.
Yeah.
You're getting them fit enough to play the game,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And no, I don't know how you guys do it in rodeo, but it is becoming a major problem in our world.
Well, with rodeo, it's the same thing. There's a lot of people.
Yeah.
I think most of that is financially driven.
I agree.
And I think that the people that you're talking about that don't know the difference,
Yeah.
they want to do the right thing,
Yeah.
and most of them will listen to you. Okay, come here.
Yeah.
Let's show you.
Yeah.
This is what's actually going on. You've been misinformed. You need to look at it from a different lens.
Exactly. And I agree, but I know one year at Don King Days, PETA threw a conniption fit on jerking steers.
Mm-hmm.
As far as I know, that year they didn't hurt a steer. They don't realize where these steers came from.
Exactly.
In Mexico, they're eating cactus and rock.
Yeah.
And yeah, they rope them and they jerk them down, but that's a better life than where they came from.
That's absolutely true.
And common sense. It goes back to common sense. And anytime you're dealing with animals, you got to have common sense, or you're outdated.
Mm-hmm.
You're outdated. And we do so much stuff as a veterinarian ourselves that I had a mare. It was a really good mare, but she'd tie up. She'd get aceturia and tie up, lock up. So I rode her every day. And as long as you rode her every day, she wouldn't tie up. And I thought, this poor mare, I'm riding her 365 days a year. This is not fair.
Mm-hmm.
So I put a stock saddle on her, hobbled my stirrups, and I'd lead her with a stock saddle. She wouldn't tie up. It's just the weight on the back of that mare took all the aceturia out of her. She did not tie up after that at all. And it's little stuff like that old timers teach you that you got to be smart enough to listen. That was my big problem. Was I had dad, I had an uncle, I had the Berries, great horsemen, great polo players. They wouldn't teach you; they'd tell you one time.
Mm-hmm.
If it didn't register, and you didn't think about it later, it was your fault.
Yeah.
And I'm not a very good teacher, but I'm a good listener. So, and they said, "Oh, we want you to come and give a clinic." Well, I run out of stuff to say. I don't. I do. I just. I could be halfway through and say, "That's it, guys." I don't. They want you to give them the secret. Well, the only secret is good hard work, and knowing your horses and analyzing the game as you play it. And I don't know. It's like knowing when you got a good steer horse, or knowing you got a good calf horse, or a good bucking horse. You've ridden or seen so many bad ones that when you get one that's good, you want to protect it. You want to take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these people don't understand that in order to be good and maintain their physical being and health, that they've got to be worked.
Yeah.
They got to be worked. And I probably worked mine too much, but I never had a problem on the field.
Yeah, exactly. It must not have been too much.
No. And I'd ride them before games.
Mm-hmm.
I'd ride them. If I played in California one year, and I was in 2 leagues, and they played at 10, 12, and 2. And invariably, I'd get a 10 o'clock game, and I'd get a 2 o'clock game. Well, that's 12 head. I'd ride those 12 head before 9 o'clock that morning. I was there freezing. It gets cold out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd ride those 12 head before I ever went to polo field. And then I'd play 6 chuckers and play another 6 chuckers. A lot of guys today show up to the game. They haven't seen those horses since the last time they played them. I lived with them. I saw them every day. I worked them every day of some sort. So, but it's that, I'm not bragging, but it's dedication. Dedication to the horse first, and dedication to the game second.
Yeah.
And
so those guys that are just showing up and riding their horses, they got somebody else riding them?
Oh, yeah. They've got what they call pilots. We didn't call them pilots. We called them mechanics. The pilot, to us, is the guy that plays them.
Mm-hmm.
The pilot, the mechanics, is the one that gets them ready for them to play. And literally, it's such a big sport now, and there's so much money, costing money for these horses and stuff like that, that they've got the best, what we used to call trainers, that gets those horses ready for them. You watch these guys, they don't know how to school a horse. They can play the socks off one, but they don't know how to school one. Don't know what it takes to get one ready. Now, what they call a pilot, he'll get them ready for them. And the player will complain, well, this horse didn't do that. They'll go back and work on that instead of the guy playing him working it himself. But that's the difference between minor leagues and major league, I guess.
So is it well, wait a minute. Is the sport transitioning, or is it the different layers? I mean, are the 10 gold players still doing all the work?
The 10 gold players today are playing in so many places, and they have so many different horses. They do have to have somebody getting those horses ready for them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know that if one of them's coming to Palm Beach, he'll send his man up 2 months before. They'll leg them up, get them going, and he'll actually play them till a player gets there. And then he'll take over as far as playing them. But the schooling and the work, that other guy does the work.
Yeah.
And then then he gets going there, he'll send him to England 2 months ahead of time. He'll get those horses ready. And I mean, when they say right-hand man, they mean it.
Yeah.
Because he knows what it takes to get those horses. There's only one person can get a horse ready for you, and that's you.
Yeah.
That anybody else, my dad couldn't get a horse ready for me. He could get them there, but then I'd have to do the rest.
Yeah.
And that's the way it should be,
I feel the same way with bucking horses, which honest to God, everybody wants to know, well, how'd you make it so much better?
Yeah.
Like, how'd you take it over from Ike? All I did was the work.
Yeah.
I didn't do nothing any different, but what I know is I was there the first time we bucked that horse. Every time since then. I mean, there's exclusions.
And you pick up
but
little things that horse does.
Yeah.
And you'll pick up the difference in the pattern of his bucking, whether it's going to get a little better or get a little worse.
Yeah.
But you couldn't pick that up. And a lot of these guys, I'm sure, they just show up at the rodeo and watch a buck. But they've got people feeding them and all that kind of stuff. But there's more to it than that. You can get as good at the business as anybody, but it's hands-on.
Yeah. Which that's the part I enjoy.
Yeah, me too. And that's why I really got into bits. And I've got every bit that's ever been made. And I'll be thinking about this horse, and I'll say, try that on him. Well, it makes a better horse out of it. Anything to make the horse better. Some of them look like, rat traps, but you don't show them on Sunday. But, when I moved from San Antonio to Sheridan, my daughter was a hell of a horseman and a hell of a leg person. I said, you just count the bits. We packed up 640 bits that I had.
When you moved?
When I moved. I had 150 polo bridles. And I don't know how many cowboy bridles, but and each of them was different. Each of them cock that head a little bit to the right or whatever you need, because that's where the quickness is. My dad always said, where that nose goes, ass is going to follow. And that's basically what it is. And that's what we did. We got that nose. And that kind of stuff, like you say, he tells you one time. And then it puts in your mind. And you say, well, what can I do to make that horse better?
Yeah.
Well, it's got to be control. It's got to be the mouth. I mean, I can put a boot on the left side and not the right side. That's not going to make him any better. That mouth, what you put in their mouth will. And I got criticized because I'd find a bit that worked for me, and somebody come up, where do you get that? I said, probably made it, you know.
Yeah, which is probably true.
Yeah, true. And well, can I copy it? I said, no. I mean, if I've got it working on my horse, why would I sell it to you and work on your horse and play against you?
You don't give your enemy your tomahawk.
That's right. That's right. And I got criticized for it a lot, but I will give them credit. They realized that I was doing something that made them better, that I had an advantage over them. Mm-hmm. And of course, I played with a lot of young kids, and they'd come in my tack room, take whatever they wanted, you know, it's fine. That 150 Polo bridles, when I left San Antonio, I've got about 20 of them left. Everybody came in to take it, you know.
Yeah.
But, yeah. And like you, those old horses, you retire, those old gilded. I've got 4 old gildings over there now. They're mid-20s, fat, slick. They won't die. They won't die. I tell my daughter, they're going to die. She knows they're not. Yeah. She just feeds them more. And vet come by and said, do you want to vaccinate your horses? I said, hell no. And Tori said, well, why not? I said, they're not going anywhere. They're going to go from this pasture to that pasture. They're not going to be. Yeah. Well, so we vaccinate them. So that's the way it goes.
Did what you're told.
Yeah.
So what's the polo world like?
It's fast, furious. When you're not playing the game, you're working horses. I mean, it used to be that they'd have the open in the middle of October. And the minute that was over, I had a little ranch South Texas. We'd go break broncs, break 2-year-olds. And we'd ride them till Thanksgiving. My horses would go to Florida in Thanksgiving. I used to get 4 days a year off. And it's 4 days after Thanksgiving, I'd go deer hunting out in West Texas. And fly in there, go back to Florida. Christmas, day before Christmas, I'd fly to meet my family. Fly back out 2 days after Christmas. But my family always went with me, except for Christmas like that. I wouldn't go. My family couldn't go, I wouldn't go. And so I turned down a lot of opportunities. They were paying insane money then. It's completely insane now what they're paying. I was born 20 years too early to cash in on what they're paying. But I tell you a funny story. I sold some horses to the Philippines. As far as I know, it's the first horses ever sold on video, polo ponies. The Manila Polo Club called me, and probably through England, Spain, Philippines do a lot of business with Spain. Anyway, they said they want 15 head of horses. I said, okay. I've got them there, come try them. No, we don't want to try them. You just send them to us. I said, I ain't not going to do that. I've seen too many people get in trouble not to sell a horse again because they didn't work.
Yeah.
I said, I'll video them. I'll video the bridle at the playing in. I'll video me playing them, and you take your pick. So I sent them 30 videos. They picked 15. They picked them up in San Antonio, took them to San Francisco, put them on a boat, and shipped them to Manila. Well, the Philippines is a lot like a lot of those southern countries. That they don't take geldings. It has to be breeding stock, studs or mares. Well, there's 3 geldings on there. And I said, you guys, you can't, we'll take care of that. Now, I had a vet that was doing my embryo transplants from the Philippines. And he went down there later and saw the horses in the stalls. They had to be branded. My brand was a Freeze Brand 2 on the left hip. They wanted them branded. So they got within a half mile of the coast, and there's kids showed up swimming. They threw those 3 gillons offside and swam them in. Those little kids were pulling on their tails, and they got them by flipping water in their face. You know, they're just swimming. They didn't know. And he said when he got there, he said they were all standing in the stalls, and they all made it. But he told me they swam those horses off that boat, which pretty Western.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but like I say, anything can happen to a horse. I've had it happen.
Yeah. So how does the Polo deal work? Do they sign you to a team, or is there agents?
There'll be private individuals, wealthy individuals. I worked for an oil man out of Tulsa for years, but I had a contract with him year round, and I'd go wherever he wanted to go play. Then there's got to be corporations coming in and hiring players.
Okay, so was he the team owner?
Yeah, okay. He was a team owner, but he played. It's the only sport where the owner can play. You'd call it pro-am, but he gets to play in the best polo in the world. And so he'll pay us to play with him. And it's about like a marriage, because you're around that guy every day, and you got to like one another. It's not going to work. And now these guys today, they'll have a sponsor in the States. They'll have one in England. They'll have one in Spain. And they're selling them horses at the same time. And what they're paying these guys, I just hear, I don't know, but it's tremendous amount of money. And just to play with them. And they'll see them at the polo field, maybe at a cocktail party, and that's it. We had to live with them, you know.
Yeah.
And but it's got to be big business. And
what funds it? Is it strictly ego? I mean, no, yeah. I'm not trying to put anybody down.
No, you're right. You're right. It's ego, and they can go to cocktail party and say, "Oh, that's my 10-goal player over there."
There's no return.
Yeah, and so no, it's ego. It really is, and the money used to be in oil in Tulsa. There's not a professional sponsor in Tulsa anymore. There's no sponsors. They ran out of them. They all died. But a lot of Arabs in Dubai, and they got more money than they can spend over there. Well, they they'll buy a polo pony $200,000.
Yeah.
And they'll buy 20 of them. They'll buy 50 of them. And they'll fly them back over there in their own planes, you know. And then that guy will come and play with them, bring a team of his people that work for him. They'll play over there, and it's good polo. But that's a chance for them to get to play with them, you know.
What's a polo pony worth now? What's the most expensive one you ever heard of?
$400,000, and that was several years ago. And it's because 2 professionals got in a bidding contest, and I think $430,000. It's nothing to sell one for $150 today.
Yeah.
Mine, biggest year I ever had, I sold 68 head, and they averaged 15,000 a piece.
Yeah.
Those 68 head now at 100,000, I'd have been in tall cotton, but I didn't. I was born too early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you think that you yourself had a lot to do with where polo's at now?
Yeah, I would hope so. I think there's people that copied me, and that's both Argentines and Americans. I think I changed the mentality of the horses because they copied me, what I did. I think I had a lot to do with it. Nothing that you could ever write down. It would be, stuff that they picked up on their own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the horses that you bred? And like, I know there was a guy that cloned Polo horses?
Yeah.
And then embryo stuff, you talked about that a little
Yeah.
bit. What about all of that stuff?
Well, I had three major bloodlines, just like your bucking horses. I had three major bloodlines that were good, that were the best in the world. One was Ludi, which my dad bought the mother in 1950 off a rancher in North Texas as a 3-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
So was that a stallion?
no, it's a mare.
Okay,
filly.
so
Filly.
your lineage
Yeah,
goes off of the mares.
that's right. And there's one horse left, and I've got him as a stud in Argentina. That goes back to that blood.
Yeah.
And he throws. We're 1,250 miles from Buenos Aires. The polo they play down there is like playing in Wichita. He's the best horse down there. He's produced the best foals, but nobody's going to see him.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's going to see him. And then the other two actually came from Santa Marina, this breeder that I was telling you about, that La Fortuna came from, that had 80 years polo behind them. And I had my pick of, he'd have about 40 head a year, and they'd be playing a little bit, and I'd go and buy what I wanted. And it was nothing to make them. I mean, hard work was done. It was just then seasonal. And those three bloodlines probably produced more horses before embryo transplants. Now, our embryo transplants, I was telling you, this vet from Philippines, he came over and, of all places, he was a vet working for a vet outfit in Ardmore, Oklahoma. And I went to school with the guy that owned the vet clinic. And we got to talking, and he said, this guy's done, you're going to think I'm crazy. He got the first limousine cattle in this country. Limousine cattle were quarantined in Nova Scotia, and they wouldn't let them come in. They had to be there so long for disease and stuff like that. He went up there. He would breed them, AI them, collect the embryo, put it in a rabbit. A rabbit is natural incubator for embryos. Put them in that rabbit, import the rabbits over to the States. In Minnesota, would implant them in dairy cows. They had 100% limousine cattle. That's how they got in here.
Thanks to rabbits.
Through rabbits. You know, there's a big market, especially in northern states, for selling rabbit meat. And he just implanted them in the rabbits and sent them over. They had rabbits going both ways. But he was that clever. And he started the embryo transplants. We would freeze the embryos and ship them to Argentina because we had that big ranch and had a lot of land, and implant them in native mares. And we'd get a third of our embryos if we froze them, 2/3 if we live transferred them in the States. So it was working pretty good until the Argentine government caught me and poured my embryos out. They said, no, you're bringing in diseases. I said, if that thing's got a disease, it ain't going to live. Well, they, right there in the face of the main airport, international airport, they just poured them down the drain.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing you could do. And then about a year after that, the Argentines started embryo transplants. But so I smuggled them through Chile. We're pretty close to the Chilean border, and I could smuggle them through there. Well, I woke up about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I said, wait a minute here. Gun running, drugs, and embryos will all get you jail time. And Argentine jail is not a place you want to be. So I quit. Yeah, I got cold feet. And
then you started smuggling drugs.
Yeah, I should have. I've made more money. But, yeah, and it's interesting. I have a brother-in-law that's English. He's passed away now. He's English. And English are not too cowboyish. They don't. So I had 8 or 9 mares in England that were top mares that we want to send back to Argentina to breed just before we're doing the embryos. And so send them back. Argentina wouldn't accept them if they didn't have papers. They had to be registered. Well, I'd sent some down. My dad had registered them when they were in Kansas. Anyway, my brother said, I'll take care of this. He said, I'll pay them out. Well, they never could pay them out. They wouldn't take the money. So my father and I had a ranch in Chile. He said, send those horses to Chile. So they send him to the ranch in Chile, and he's down there about a year and a half later, and those mares are standing there. He said, Robert, why aren't these horses to ranch in Argentina? Well, I haven't been able to find somebody to smuggle them across. He said, get in the car. They go down to the courthouse, just like here, big steps going up, jails in the bottom, a whole bit. There's this policeman coming down, and my father only got hot, could speak fluent Spanish. And he asked this guy, who's the best smuggler in town? He said, well, you go right down here, take a left, go back. Juancito's over there. He'll take care of you. Went over there. Hour later, these horses were on the trail going to Argentina. And he told my brother, you go with them. So they smuggled them past a checkpoint that Robert said he thought he was going to get killed. They smuggled them past this checkpoint about 2 o'clock in the morning, and they had all the dogs out there, and the dogs were barking, and the guards ain't going to go out in the dark. They, they rule them by. And they got them there. They were there. We had a friend right on the border, and we put them up there, and then I went and got them. But the military was in control. What little control there was. I love guns. And a guy brought me a Winchester lever action 4440. And I gave him, $50, $60 for it. And the barrel was...
In Argentina?
Yeah, there's no blue on the tip of the barrel. And the stock was scraped a little bit. I said, what happened here? He said, this was guard gun. He said, never shot it. He said, they'd lean on it. That takes the blue off the end of the barrel. Somebody robbed the bank, they'd throw it down and run. He said, that's what happened to the stock. I still got it there at home. But Argentina going to have a war. Argentina's going to fight Chile. Well, that part of Argentina is all controlled with cavalry. So they came to all the ranches, and they come to us, and they want 50 head of horses. I don't know why, but we had a lot of gray horses. They didn't want gray horses because you see them at dark. So we give them 49 gray horses. And we land at the air club there. It's a private deal. You could land there, and it's right next to the cavalry. And they had these horses tied to poles. They just tied them up to poles. And they had an extension cord running from the cavalry outpost over to our hangar, plugged in. They were using our electricity. And if I'm lying, I'm dying. I look out there. There's a soldier holding this horse, got him by the ear. Another one's got him twitch on him. And the third guy's spray painting him army green. The soldiers, the horse, everybody got army green. Well, they didn't fight. And about 6 months later, we got them back. Well, there'd been a lot of rain, snow. Those horses were white on the back, but green on the belly and legs. Mm-hmm. It took years for that stuff to wear off. Yeah. It's crazy. But and you ask about, there's always something going on in polo or associated to polo, whether it's horses or whatever. But it can drive you crazy sometimes, like you can with your horses here. It's unbelievable what we get into. But a lot of it's man-made, too. We didn't know any better. Mm-hmm. When I went to that ranch, my father-in-law said, there's 195,000 acres. He said, buy what cattle you want, buy what horse you need, buy whatever you need. Basement bargain price. So they had 750 head of horses.
In Argentina.
Ranch horses. So I said, okay, let's ride them. The ones that bucked them off or ran off, we didn't want them. I bought 350 head of horses. Cattle.
You went and rode 750
I watched them
head
ride
of
them.
horses.
I wasn't getting on them crazy. But the ones that bucked them off, we didn't take any broncs. And that's another story. They had some 5-year-old horses never been touched. But anyway, got rid of those. I got 38 or 3,900 head of cows, 3-year-olds and up, preg checked, which they didn't preg check. We preg checked these.
What kind of cattle?
Hereford, and damn good Hereford cattle. Argentina, they don't crossbreed. You got Hereford cattle, you got Angus cattle, you got Bremer cattle, and they're not purebred, but they are. They don't register them. But anyway, I got 3,900 head of cows. And then they come up, how many oxen you want? Oxen. I didn't know what the hell an oxen did, you know. I said, well, hell, just like I knew what I was doing. I said, hook them up, see what they can do. Well, the ones that ran off, they couldn't get hooked up, went to the soldiers in town, beef, and I had 60 yoke. And I didn't believe how much we'd use oxen on that place. Fencing crews. Mm-hmm. They'll go straight up a mountain, oxen pulling posts and wire. You get about halfway up, they put a post behind that ox cart to block it, and those oxen to rest.
Yeah.
Go on up, and they can pull a freight train. And we still got 2 or 3 pair around the ranch. They use it for hauling firewood. And at those outposts, those cow camps.
Well, wait a minute. What the hell is an oxen?
Oxen is you get an oxen just like you do a bull. You take your best calf possible, and when they're 3s, you go to handle them. And what they did, they roped them, tied them to an ox cart, got a yoke on them, tied them to the ox cart, chained the wheels with they have to drag it. Mm-hmm. And best way to do it is have an old oxen hooked to a young oxen and chain the young oxen's wheel. Well, that old oxen will pull, and that little one, he'll give out. The other one will make him pull. Mm-hmm. And the guy that's controlling them walks in front of them with a piece of cane, with a nail in it. And he wants them to turn left, he'll punch them behind the right ear with that cane, and they'll turn right like that. And it's...
Any breed.
We used Hereford. We heard Hereford. And then we had some dairy cows, Holstein cows, crossed on Hereford bulls. They made the best oxen. They really did. They got bigger, longer. They could go longer. When an oxen gets tired, he lays down. You ain't going to get him up.
Yeah.
Until he gets ready to go. And it takes a mentality to drive them, which those guys at that time didn't have wristwatches. They got up with the sun, went to bed with the sun. That's the way it was. And which it's an old chain now. All the cowboys now, they have cell phones, and they get off on Saturday afternoon and Sunday and come back Monday morning. Well, they got a taxi waiting for them, cell phone. And a lot different. They used to saddle a horse at lunchtime on Saturday and ride to town. That's 60 miles. And hit the first cantina they come to and get hammered. And then Sunday evening, they'd ride back. They'd turn those horses loose. They'd just be sleeping. Those horses would take you right back home. And, it's...
All right, real quick, we got to pay some bills. Got to say thank you to the Bozeman Stampede, Bozeman, Montana.
Folks, the Bozeman Stampede, greatest rodeo in the world, maybe the universe. Huge crowds, beautiful bulls, riders tougher than my Twitter feed. Other rodeos, sad. This one wins so much you'll get tired of winning, but you won't. Believe me.
Some guys didn't make it. One guy, older guy, he got in there, got in the cantina, got hammered. Well, in the sidewalks and the curbs, they've got rings. They still have rings down there to tie your horses to. So he had his horse tied in front of this cantina to a ring. Well, when he got on, the horse stepped toward him. He fell off the other side, hit his head on the curb, and killed him. That horse broke loose. And I happened to find him the next day at the last gate. He was standing at the gate coming home. And I just opened the gate, and he went on to the headquarters. But that guy got killed by hitting his head on that curb.
Really?
Yeah. And another guy, a logging truck hit, killed him and the horse both. You have all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because you're 50, 75 years behind this country.
Is it still like that?
No, it's probably, well, like I say, they got cell phones now. They got cable TV. No, back then they didn't know what TV was. First time we got a TV, the manager just put it on RFD. That's all they got was agriculture. They didn't know that there was Looney Tunes or anything like that.
Yeah.
But no, it's getting more modernized. We still don't have trucks and trailers. Everything is done horseback. The camp gang is probably about 12, 15 guys, and they'll leave in the morning and they'll go to the south side of the place, north side of the place. Then we've got cow camps.
Yeah.
They call them posteros, and they're responsible for a certain many pastures or whatever. In the old days, you counted the cattle in that pasture. He counted, manager counted, and then I counted too. But come up with a number, and then when you gathered that pasture, if there's a discrepancy, that guy had to come up with at least the hide or the ears. If that didn't happen, he took it out of his pay. So they worked hard. They took good care of us.
Was there a lot of cattle theft?
More so today in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
But what they're doing is they're easing out there and shooting them, butchering them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Not stealing cattle outright, but slaughtering them. Yeah, beef.
What's the cattle market like there now?
Terrible.
Really?
Our calves, it's better now. And they're talking about importing this Argentine beef. That ain't going to change the problem of this country not having enough breeding stock. All that's going to do is drop the price of the hamburger.
You think it will, though?
Well, they're worried about Argentine beef. They don't say anything about Canadian, Mexican, Australian, or Brazilian. That's all the countries that they import beef from. Argentina is going to take up a small portion, but it's not going to make the difference. Like I say, most people are eating hamburger. They're not eating prime stuff because they can't afford it.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to make that hamburger cheaper. To what extent, I don't know. But
How much?
They're saying they're selling disease. The cattle down there are healthier than anything we got here.
Yeah.
I guarantee you. Because anything gets sick, dies. They don't spend $1,000 to save a sick calf or, all medicine and stuff like that.
So, everybody's worried right now about the cattle prices dropping here.
Yeah.
Do you think it will drop cattle prices here?
No. It might drop the price of hamburger, but it's not because they won't import the good stuff. It'll be hamburger. But it's not any different than Canadian cattle. Canada's been screwing this country for years. I've had horses in quarantine in Canada going to Canada, and they're bringing a load of steers, fat steers, and they'll clear the border. They'll take them down to Torrington, put them in feedlot. They're there for 30 days, and then their origin becomes United States USDA beef, not Canadian beef. Well, they've been doing that. The Canadians get a supplement from the government, the difference in price from there to here, and then currency exchange. They're making a ton of money up there. And Australia, same way. Brazil has more cattle than anybody, but the Brazilians own the 4 major packing plants.
Yeah.
So they're going. I don't know. I get people talking about Argentine beef. It's the best beef in the world if you're in Argentina. It doesn't. Grass-fed beef does not freeze well. But we butcher a cow and a half a week to feed our clients and the fishing and hunting down there. And it's hung maybe 12 hours before we go to eat. It's the best beef in the world.
Yeah.
But then in the major sale in town is sale every day. And they got them divided up in little corrals. And you walk catwalk and the buyers buy that lot. They go straight from there to butcher. Next morning, they're at the restaurants.
Yeah.
They're on the supermarket. They don't hang it. And there again, it's got a flavor that is pretty tough to beat.
Yeah.
But what I know about the cow industry, you can put in a thimble. But I just see when things are going bad and see when things are going good. And these cowmen, and I know a lot of them, and I've helped them up around Sheridan, Ship, and all that kind of stuff. And they've been getting a raw deal. And the raw deal's been coming from the packers, not the consumer. But now that they're making money, they're getting greedy, and I don't blame them because they went so many years getting, being the ostracized cousin, that now they've got a little power, and I just hope they don't ride a good horse too long, They're selling those heifers because they're worth a lot of money. Before, heifers, nobody wanted them.
So they're seed stock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they're selling them rather than taking them back to the herd.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a long time before that justifies itself. And I don't know. They'd probably kill me if they heard me saying this, but it's the way it is. And I don't know how much beef they can import to make the top end cheaper. Because the meat they're going to be shipped in is going to be processed. It's going to be hamburger. They're not going to bring a live animal in and butcher it. So really and truly, the packers don't have a lot to say about it.
Yeah.
It's going to go to Safeway or, right off. As soon as USDA stamps it. So.
Yeah.
But.
So what about the cloning in Polo?
The cloning in Polo's big, very big now. When we started, of course, didn't know what we're doing, but we were getting success out of it. And then Argentina picked it up, and they polished it. They've got the clones, they've cloned, they've embryo transplanted, and they actually have a corner on the polo pony market in the world. But there again, they got land they can run them on, and they got people still riding them, breaking them, which we don't have that here very seldom. There's only so many buck Brannamans, but they're way ahead of us in that. Like I say, we were doing it on a shoestring, and we had success. So.
Did you ever clone any?
Yeah, I had a clone live in a mare for about 4.5 months before she sloughed it, and right there in San Antonio, and that's right when they made me pour the embryos out, and I quit. But no, I had Sweet William. When he died, he stepped on a nail at the farm I was keeping him at, right there. Well, instead of pulling the nail out and putting iodine on it, dig it out and putting iodine, no. The vet, he was so famous that this vet was going to save him. So they took him in, they operated on him. They just cut his bottom of his foot like that and went in. I said, why? They wanted to see if it was broke. I said, what do you got an x-ray machine for? Anyway, he at the same time, they nerved him up high. They didn't tell me that. He sweeneyed his shoulder. So I swam him for 6 months, got the shoulder back pretty good, and he was sound. And 2 years I fooled with him. Finally got him back to polo game, and the coffin bone went right up the bottom of his foot.
Oh, geez.
So this vet happened to be there, and he took tissue from his heart, cheek tissue was the best, and intestines, and we had that frozen, and that's what we tried to clone with. And had we tried, we'd eventually got it, but it was a shot in the dark when we were doing it. And of course now he's passed away, and that tissue's gone. And
if you could clone him right now, would he be?
He'd be the best in the world.
He still
he
would
was
be.
that far ahead of everybody.
Really?
Yeah, he'd be the best in the world, and no telling what he'd be worth. and what his clones would be worth. They're getting smarter down there in Argentina. Is they're cloning these mares, and they're playing them, but they're going straight into embryo transplants. They're taking their egg and crossing it on. Anytime you got a, this is my theory. Anytime you got a DNA of any horse, at some point in time, somebody's going to come up with a better horse. Yeah. I don't care who it is. It may be a farmer from Iowa, that just stumbled onto a plow horse. It makes whatever. Yeah. But anyway, they're taking the DNA from those good mares and crossing it on the good studs, and that baby is got clone blood in it, clone DNA, and new stud DNA. So it's going to make a better horse. You think, right? Now, I know one guy that he only clones to breed. He doesn't play them. He clones them to breed them. And that might be the payoff's going down the road, no doubt about it. But he might be the smartest one down there because he's getting that DNA from that good mare, and it's going different places, crossing on different studs. This cross might not be as good as this cross, but he's getting probably 9 to 12 embryo transplants a year, the best. And we tried doing it with different stallions, and then we'd freeze. We'd
save them.
So
you know what the.
And then we get this cross working. Those others we get rid of. Go with that cross.
Yeah.
And but it's so much time.
Yeah.
That.
How old is a polo horse when you know if they're producers or not?
Polo ponies in his prime from 9 to 12. But I've had mares, fillies, that I played the 3 and 4 year old and big polo. Did it on accident, but I did it. And then I've had geldings that just one day wake up and they're polo ponies. Yeah. They're 7, 8 years old. Gelding, they're slower to mature, slower thinking. They're just slower.
Yeah.
And a filly, she'll mature at 4 and 5.
And we were talking earlier, we should say this. You think 70% of the high-end polo ponies in the world are mares?
Yes. I'd say 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
And like I said, for me, one of them gets hurt. Seeing an old gelding standing out there in the pasture doing nothing but eating just chapped me wrong. I could put that mare out there and raise a foal out of her while she's healing up. I get something back. Gelding, no. They had to be pretty good before I'd do something like that.
Yeah.
And, but, no.
Should we take a break for a few minutes?
Sure.
These lights are really neat, but
they get after you after a while.
Yeah, kind of make you want to rub your eyes.
Yeah, that's something about Irv Alderson that I'll bring up. He always had a good horse. Yeah. Always had a good horse. And he always recognized a good horse, knew a good horse. And his family, of course, they had, original was Dude Ranch, and they had a lot of people from the East, polo players, send their daughters in there, and he knew a lot of polo people. And I don't think he ever played, but he was always questioning me about bits. And I'd give him a bit. But never, everything I gave him was always the best. He never would tell me it didn't work, But he was that kind of guy. And no, he's always wanting to make a better horse. And his brother was the same way. Alan, team roper, steer roper. Irv, there's a picture of Irv, I wished I had it, roping in the national finals in Pawhuska, steer roping. And he's just laying this trip on this steer and he's turning off. You talk about an ox. Those days they rope big steers.
Yeah.
And those horses, if they roped 3 steers a day, they'd had enough.
Yeah.
Going to this Ironman stuff, roping 5, 6 steers, no, they can't do it. They couldn't do it in those days.
Yeah.
And it kind of separated the men, cowboys from the men, roping those kind of steers.
Yeah.
in Arizona, they rope every day. Ike tells me that they're leasing cattle, and it can't keep up.
No.
Can't keep up down there.
Yeah, and that's that Arizona deal. And Ty Yost is he's kind of got the market cornered. I mean, he's the only one that's smart enough and has the needs the volume to go down there and get them himself.
Yeah. I got a lot of people that I know live on the river, and those they go to those little villages, and there might be 5 steers that'll work.
Yeah.
And like I say, they're living on rock and cactus, and God, it's just amazing where people will go to find them.
Yeah. Well, and here's something else too. The last few sets that I bought, they used to be red and whites, red and blacks. They used to be completely different. Now they show up. They're solid reds. They're solid blacks. They're younger.
Yeah.
They've got that cattle deal cleaned out down there.
Yeah.
And those guys that are still raising cattle have realized that you need to raise better cattle.
They're putting better bulls.
Yeah.
That's the best way to do it. Put better bulls on your herd. And it may not be what you want for roping steers, but no. And somebody a lot smarter than me is going to have to figure this out.
Yeah.
I think about it just to be thinking about it, just to give my mind something to do besides watching Law and Order reruns.
Well, what do we need to talk about next?
You better talk about Irv.
Oh, wait a minute.
Okay.
I heard a story
Uh-oh.
about Lonesome Dove that involved you.
Okay.
Is this true?
Tommy Lee?
Yep.
Here,
Here, slide that to you a little bit.
Okay. I worked for Tommy Lee, played polo for him, known him for 100 years.
Really?
Yeah. And Barry Corbin, what he said about Tommy Lee is true.
Okay, who's Barry Corbin?
Barry Corbin was in Lonesome Dove. You've seen him in all these. He's been in Yellowstone, and he's an old man. He's an old actor from Texas. He speaks with a Texas accent. Very renowned actor. And somebody said, describe Tommy Lee. He said, well, it's like goose and a badger. He said he's very tough to get along with, and he is. Anyway, I was playing with him in the spring, and he always has a benefit game at his ranch, San Saba, and I'd always go. And so we, like I say, we were good friends. So we went to doing this, and he was in making Lonesome Dove, and his hair was blonde, and his beard was blonde, and he played Captain Call at that polo game. He got into character.
Oh, really?
He stayed in character, yes. Even how he put his hat on. You know how he put his hat on? That's how he was wearing a straw hat then. But he was Captain Call. We didn't know it at the time. We figured it out later. So I'm in Aspen playing. Got through in California, come back to Aspen. I had some horses there, people
Aspen,
playing.
Colorado.
And a guy, the manager of the polo club in San Antonio, comes in. He said, oh, I got something Tommy Lee sent you. My brand's a 2. Little branding iron about like this with a 2 on it. Mexican branding iron. Didn't think anything about it. So that fall, we're going back. Tommy Lee's playing. He said, did you get that branding iron? I said, yeah, I did. He said, I beat the hell out of a guy with that branding iron. He said, I put it to where you can see the 2, too. And the scene was where he ran over the buckskin horse and they get to fighting in the blacksmith shop, and he grabs branding iron, and he's got it like it. He turns it like that, and you can see the 2. Then he proceeds to beat the hell out of this guy with it, and I've got it. It's up at the house.
And that's he did that on purpose.
He did it on purpose, yeah. And then I got a rifle that supposedly the one Gus shot the Comanchero with in the guts.
Yeah.
I've got it at the cabin. Yeah. But that That could be anything. That could be a friend of mine got it. It'll never be shot, but it's there.
Yeah.
But yeah, he sent me that. It just little stuff like that he does that you wouldn't think he would think about it, you know. Here he is making a major film, and he thought about sending me that too.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty respectful thing.
It is. And we didn't lose much. We won pretty much about everything. He'd asked me to play with him at that benefit at his place because we'd always win. And then we'd go from there to San Angelo and play on the drill ground at the Fort Concho. That was thrilling. But no, there was a lot of that in those days. Somebody would have something, you dropped everything and went and helped them. Mm-hmm. You know, you can't get that done today. If somebody's going to do something like that, what you going to pay me? You know, no, we didn't. Nobody paid us nothing. Expenses, we took it out of our own pocket. Yeah, and we did it as friends. You know, and there's a lot less of that in this world now. And hell, I'd load horses to people playing against us out there. They wouldn't have any up. I'd bring them a horse just to make it work. And he's a funny guy. Yeah.
Is he pretty cowboy?
He probably is now. Then he didn't know there was a cow in Texas. But, yeah, he's got that ranch, and he helps run it. He does a good job with it. Like he had to leave Sheridan. His wife was playing. He doesn't play anymore. His wife, they're leaving Sheridan after the season. He said, I got to go build a fence. He said, we got water gaps out. Well, who owns a ranch that knows about water gaps unless you're about half cowman, you know? He said, we got so many water gaps. He said, we're going to be putting water gaps for a year. Yeah. And I thought that was, to realize that water gap is that important, especially in Texas. Yeah. Which was, I would say he's a cowboy.
Well, if he still likes ranching after fixing water gaps.
There's more to it than running cows. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's pretty neat. I mean, that's a really neat story.
Yeah.
How'd you get into polo? Because you grew up a cowboy.
All right. My dad was into polo, and how he got into it, there was, before the war, Harold Berry, who was, he's 300 pounds. He's a big man. Okay. And he got a job with a guy by the name of Jack Scheidler in the little town of Burbank. He had a ranch south of Burbank, and he got the job running it. Well, my dad was 17, and he got to helping Harold on weekends and holidays and stuff like that. And they both loved horses. They just rode horses. And after the war, Dad came back there and went back to work with Harold. And one day Harold said, let's go play polo. Dad said, I can't even spell polo. What do you want to do? He said, I'll teach you. So they went to Vernon, Texas, and they went to work for Buster Wharton, who's an heir to Wagner Ranch. They built 2 polo fields right there, and they would play spring and fall. Well, Buster would take a drink with you, and he drank that Four Roses whiskey, which, you know, you change oil with that son of a gun. And he'd play the first game, and couldn't play. Well, Dad had finished the game for him, play 5 chukkers. Well, Dad, knowing the best 5 horses, those were the best 5 horses he held back. And he did that for years. And then Harold decided to go to work for Triple C Trucking, Don Beveridge out of Detroit. And Dad went with him. And then in the summertime, Dad would either go to Chicago with him, but he would ride the green horses. And they made a deal with W.L. Hartman, oil man in Wichita. Dad would go there and play with them, play those green horses. Mm-hmm. And it worked for several years. And I was a little kid. I wasn't in school. I was in school, and I walked hots. Well, they'd step on me. So when I walked them in a trot. They never cooled out. So I was trotting them. And then I don't get at that. There was a problem at a ranch where I was helping. I was 12 years old. And this guy killed another one, and I was the only witness. And so, make a long story short, they preliminary hearings and all that kind of stuff kind of affected me a little bit. And they had me on, they called them nerve pills in those days, but they're tranquilizers. And I wasn't right. And Mr. Hartman heard about it. And he called Dad and he said, get him out of there. Come up here and go playing polo. So we moved to Wichita, and I started playing polo with him when I was 14. Still going to school in Burbank, but actually, in Oklahoma at that time, if you were a professional in one sport, you were a professional in all sports. So I couldn't play football, basketball, or baseball.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I didn't get my senior year. I couldn't play. So I had a bunch of horses. I'd ride horses every day, and went there. And Dad always told me, said, you're only as good as your competition. And Harold Berry came through again. He'd stop there twice a year, going to Chicago and coming back. And he played against me. And I played against him. Dad said, I want you to play against him. You'll learn something. Mm-hmm. So Harold goes on up. I was 17. He gets up there, and he didn't like the team he had. So he called Dad. He said, Billy, send me Tommy. So I got on a plane, went up there, and played. Well, he used me a lot because, like I say, I could ride better than everybody up there. So speed was no problem. And that's what he needed because he could hit the ball hard and far, and he wanted somebody on it like a bird dog. And so we did good. We won a lot. And then the next year, he hired me full time to go up there, play in the summer. And then I'd get paid in the winter to play in Florida when I was in college. I'd leave on Thursday night, fly into Miami, get in about 1 o'clock in the morning. Jimmy Newman would pick me up. That's how long I've known Jimmy. I'd play Friday, Saturday, and Sunday and catch a 6 o'clock flight out of Miami back to St. Louis, back to Tulsa. And I did it for 4 years. And got better and better. Of course, I got better horses, too. And then when I got married, as polo players do, got married on Saturday, flew to Santa Barbara, played in the finals of the Pacific Coast Open on Sunday. Monday, we went to Las Vegas, spent Monday night, Tuesday night. Wednesday, flew back to L.A. and got on a plane and went to England. Had a practice game on Thursday. So your whole life evolved around polo and horses. Mm-hmm. And so our whole marriage has been polo, horses, travel, you know. And our little kids, Rosie homeschooled them, did a hell of a job. But a lot of people, they couldn't have done it. They wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
But to be able to go to England and meet the Queen. I played against King Charles, played against him. William and Harry, Toby used to heel him. He had rope, and he'd rope them, and they loved it. And so, no, they were horse people, very much horse people.
Did you beat them?
Yeah, I could. Sometimes you didn't want to.
That was against the rules?
Yeah. Well, they'd give you that look like that, you know. Funny story. First time I went there, like I say, we got in on Wednesday, got a practice game on Thursday, and we're practicing against Prince Philip, Lord Beresford, Lord Waterford, and Paul Withers. That was their main English team. And Joe, he's born in Truscott, Texas. Another story. But anyway, he said, now, we got to go up here and change clothes. I said, what for? She's got to put you white on. They got a room up here, clubhouse, and we go in there and change. I never changed anywhere but the back of a trailer. And go in there. He said, now watch these guys. They wear pantyhose. I said, whoa, wait a minute. And they did. They put tights on. They're down here and we're here. They put tights on. But they put pads in the thighs and back. And they were rough. And that particular game, Joe knocked Prince Philip down. It was Prince Philip's fault, but you didn't say that. And Joe didn't know what to say. He rode up and said, sorry, sir, let me catch your horse. And he loved it. He loved it. He loved dirty jokes. he'd come by and we'd tell him dirty jokes, and he'd think of something, he'd come back, and you're a great guy, great guy. And on the polo field, you treated him like anybody else. And that's the way he wanted to be treated. You didn't pull up, and he didn't pull up. And Prince Charles, he played and became a good player, but he wasn't dedicated to it. The two boys, William and Harry, they might play a little bit, but it's mostly for benefits and stuff like that. But to get, well, now King Charles on the polo field was a big, major deal, publicity-wise for the people. And, the Guards Polo Club is on the grounds of Windsor Great Castle. So you played there, castle's right there. I mean, pomp and history and all of it went together. And it wasn't just a polo game, it was a spectacle to play. And, of course, we were just dumber than crutches. We didn't know what we were doing.
It's still fun.
Yeah, we didn't. So we didn't intentionally hurt anybody's feelings. They knew we were just country, so they took us for granted. And Rosie and I lived in a coach house right across the hedge from the Maharaja of Jaipur. Great guy.
Which sounds important.
It is. He was the stud duck of Jaipur, India, that province. Played polo. He was 9 goals at one time. Very big in English polo. He had a swimming pool. And he told us anytime, I actually was playing with him in a 14-goal tournament. He said, anytime you want to use a pool, go use it. You had to crawl through a hedge to get to it. So there's Joe. We didn't have any swimming trunks. We were swimming in Wranglers. Rosie had a bathing suit. We were swimming, having a great time. And Jai comes out, and he's dressed to the nines. He said, would you please go dress, coat and tie, and come to a cocktail party I'm having? Whatever you want, Jai. We went over, changed clothes, crawled back through the hedge, got inside, and ambassadors from all over the world. The only one that didn't talk to us was an American ambassador. I think he was embarrassed. But anyway, everybody was so nice to us. And then things got very quiet about 9 o'clock. And in walks the Queen. It was not state-sponsored. She was by herself. So she had, I guess you call it, protection. But it was not known to anybody that she was going to show up. It's one of her private things. So you get in a line, receiving line, and they usher you through and you say hello. I get there. She said, tell me about Sweet William. I mean, she had heard of this horse. So I told her what I knew about him. We sat there for 30 minutes. They came and got me out of the line to move me on down the line because there's people wanting to meet her. And then after the line, she called me back to have talked to her about horses. And very well informed. Any great horse like that, she knew. She knew about him. And England is very horsey. And to pick one horse out like that was kind of special to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but there would be newspapers that would call on Saturday night. We're playing on Sunday. And they'd want to know how Sweet William was, what chuckers I was going to play him. And I'd tell them. The people come from Australia to get their picture taken with him. He was so famous. Horse and Hound did articles on him. And that basically steeplechase and racing, and they did articles on Sweet William. And he's a comical son of a gun. You'd be standing, had little individual, not stalls, but tie stalls. And he'd be tied there, and he'd have his head down. We'd bandage him, he'd stand there. Somebody come up with a camera, that's up. He'd stick his head up, and ears come out, pose. The minute he heard the click, back. He was a character. And I could put my daughter on him, you wouldn't do nothing. I get on him, he'd buck me off. He was just a special horse.
Did that ever? I think about this with black tie, and it's not even relatable. But all these horses mean something. I've known them forever. At what point, or did you ever start treating him different?
I think if I'd treated him different, he wouldn't have made the horse he made.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't. Dad bought him in May, and he was so poor, so wormy that Dad double wormed him and thought he killed him. In Wichita, Rosie's parents lived in Tulsa. Well, Tulsa gets warmer about 2 weeks before Wichita. So I hauled 5 horses down there to see her folks. And I stick and balled him. I just put a mallet on him and hit the ball. First time, April 15th. Marked it down, April 15th. June of that year, I played him in the finals of the 14 goal. The end of August, I played him in the 20 goal, which is second highest tournament in the United States. October, I played him in the Open, half chucker. I spanked him. I carry a whip. Never had to use it. I tapped him one time in front of the crowd, and he damn near bucked me off. Mm-hmm. He took a big wild jump, and I got a hold of him. But it happened so quick that nobody saw it but me. And so I left that whip at home from then on. I didn't carry it and didn't need it. But I knew he was special when he turned that quick as a 4-year-old. For a gelding, do something like that in a 4-year-old. And not that it made any difference how well I took care. I treated all my horses good, but he was a little special. You do little things out of the ordinary for those kind of horses, you know.
Yeah.
And up there especially, at noon, we'd feed 3 years of corn on the cob, because they raised corn there where we stayed. And all my horses got 3 years. Their coats were shiny. God, they looked good. He'd get 5. You know, just little stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he never went hungry. And one time before the Coronation Cup in England, which was a series between the United States and England, big deal. Queen's there and everything. He lost a shoe on Saturday. Tacked the shoe back on him and quicked him. This is where horseman comes into it. Harold Berry, we were playing in that game. He said, jerk that shoe. I jerked the shoe. No pus, nothing like that. He went in, he lived right there, got an old cast iron skillet, filled it full of grease. Got it hot. Brought that back out there, and we put that horse's foot in that grease and cooked that. He said, we're going to cook that quick back up.
Mm-hmm. Put
a shoe on him, played him the next day. Never took a lame step. But it's those kind of horsemen that, you know, a vet would have said, no, you can't play him, can't do this. He fixed that horse in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
For being quicked.
And it was good for the horse.
And good for the horse, yeah.
The horse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he won best playing pony in the Coronation Cup the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And but I was fortunate enough to be raised around those kind of horsemen.
Yeah.
And their family got into horses by buying remount horses for the government. And some of the old stories they would tell about buying a bunch of horses and putting them on the railroad right away and driving them. They didn't have trucks and trailers. They drove them.
Yeah.
And Uncle Bill Berry told me about going with Wayne Brown's father, Jackie Brown, to Gallup, New Mexico. They left Truscott, Texas with bedrolls in their saddles. They got off in Gallup. Mr. Brown went to buying horses, unbroke, whatever. And they drove them back, breaking them on the way. Now, that, to me, to ride horseback from Gallup to Truscott, Texas is one thing. They put them on a train and took them to Miami Beach, unloaded them down there and tried to sell them polo ponies. Well, they sold some. Put them back on the train and took them to Aiken, South Carolina, and sold every one of them. But now these guys didn't have 2 nickels to rub together, had everything in their horses, and they made a living out of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And Bill laughed about it. You know, he said he'd get bucked off, and somebody rope the horse for him and get back on, and you rode him till he quit bucking.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's all you had.
That's all you had. The one you're going to get next might be worse.
Yeah.
And it was, but that's how I was raised. And they had, everything you had was hobble broke.
Yeah.
And when you're breaking broncs, you 3-weight them. And I had one mare that could buck with three-way hobbles and not go down. And she's probably the best broodmare in the country right now. Her name was Sage. But she could buck hard and not go down. Usually if they hit that third hobble, they're like forfeiting them. And didn't bother her. Hated to get on her after that, though. I did. But, good mare. But that horsemanship like that is lost. It's no more. When I'm gone, there's nobody left to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your dad went through things like that with his dad, my dad.
Yeah.
And it's gone. It's gone.
I think about this all the time, and just so this is absolutely out in the open, I hate saddle horses.
Yeah.
I can't stand them.
Yeah.
And because the reason I justify it is because of riding just the pickles that Ike brought home all the time.
Right.
They're just trader horses, always were.
Yeah.
And the other thing is you get around saddle horses that are raised in a saddle horse scenario or setting. And then you're around these bucking horses that are let alone to do what they want to do, and they think different.
Right.
And they think for themselves. And then you try to deal with a saddle horse who's got a really simple job.
Yeah, but it's to them it's complicated.
Yes.
Their IQ, their gene pool needs a lifeguard. Is the best way to put it.
Yeah, maybe.
And you get a good one, you got a good one. But there's so many sorry ones that you know. Well, and you got people riding them that don't know what's going on.
Also, might be my fault.
No,
but
you realize that there's something there. Most of them don't.
I don't know about that, but I think all the time about how the horses are not the same now as they used to be.
Right.
But I mean, now they're a hobby.
Oh,
I mean, even here,
Yeah.
where we do stuff horseback with these horses, there ain't a motorcycle, there ain't a four-wheeler on the place, but it's still a hobby because we could use a motorcycle or a four-wheeler.
Right.
And a lot of people do.
Right.
But they're just, the culture is just grown that far away from it.
Yeah. There's a ranch west of KC that I'm good friends with. They use four-wheelers. Mm-hmm. You go to head a cow horseback and they'll run over you. But they can drive them with four-wheeler.
Yeah.
Which I never put a saddle on a four-wheeler, so I don't know how that works.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't even know. No. I think I could start one. I don't know that I could
if it had an automatic start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's not a pride issue. That's just the way it is.
And to me, there's a lot of history that we're losing when we lose those old timers. Mm-hmm. And they'd tell stories that they just thought of, like driving those horses down a railroad track, and a train hitting one and killing it, and they didn't know it. They rode 20 miles back to find a stiff horse laying on the side of the railroad. Mm-hmm. They were kids, and they could buy them for $65, $75 and sell them to government for $165. That was a lot of money.
Yeah.
And the more they got, the more they got smart, because they'd have an officer at one place, like Fort Concho. They'd take them in there, drive them in there. Officer would look at them, okay, we'll try this one, and they'd buy so many. Well, the ones that he didn't buy, they'd take them to the next place where the officer was buying, different officer, and try to get them past it. And they'd sell most of them that way. Mm-hmm. One officer would turn them down, another one would take them. Billy Linfoot was a veterinarian, 9-goal polo player in California, got to know him very well. And he was a purchasing agent for the government. Well, he was good friends with Harold Berry, Bill Berry, and Roy Berry. And he would go look at these horses. And, they wanted half-breed horses. Didn't want them bucked. They wanted to be sound of eye and air. And they'd run across some really breedy mares, and they wouldn't take them. He'd call Roy and them, say, these mares at such and such ranch. And they'd go buy them polo ponies. They turned them down to $165. They'd go there and buy a mare for $50. Mm-hmm. Broke.
Better horse.
Take it to town, 3 months and sell it. You know? And but Billy, he was a horseman too. And very outside of being a veterinarian, veterinarians have a funny way of talking. Not always conducive to my mind, my mentality. He knew how to talk to cowboys. He knew how to talk to horsemen.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not all these big words and all this kind of stuff. He'd say, give him this, give him that, do this, do that.
Or leave him alone.
Leave him alone. Time is best healer. And but I'm not taking anything against veterinarians today. They're more educated and they've seen it all. But for me to sit down and talk to one, it's Paul Wallerman's the best. He can talk my language. He can talk any language and make you understand it. But some of those guys in Florida, I don't have a clue what they're talking about. You know,
They don't have a clue what you're talking about either.
No, they don't have a clue. They make sound like they do, but they don't. But now that we've cussed all of the vets and all
Well, talking about old timers, you are one of the original friends of Irv Alderson that put the name on Irv's legacy, right?
Right.
Okay. So let me tell a little bit
Sure.
about the story. So this sale in futurity where we sell the naming rights to the horses, and then there's a futurity. The futurity was the day after the sale, and that was the first year we did it. Jimmy Newman, who you mentioned in here earlier,
been friends for 100 years.
yeah, he came up and he bought the horse's name was Ruckus. Stood up, said change his name to Irv's Legacy at the auction, and then he said, "Let me know what happens at the futurity," which was the next day, because he's going to be at Irv Alderson's
Legacy.
celebration of life.
Yeah.
The day of the futurity. So we're out here dummy bucking colts, and on paper, old Irv's Legacy, we don't know much about him, and this is all genetic.
Right.
So we don't know that much about that horse. Is sired by Cat in the Hat. It's the first set of colts out of Cat in the Hat, and then out of a mare named Hullabaloo, which we didn't get hardly any colts out of, and he might have been the last one. So next day we go to bucking colts here. Turns out old Irv's Legacy, pretty good with the dummy, wins the futurity, wins trophy altar, wins 10,000. Called Jimmy. In the meantime, Jimmy was at that service of life or celebration of life and was telling you guys about how he named the bucking horse Irv's Legacy.
And did you want in?
Yep.
And so he had more people wanting in than he wanted, because Irv Alderson was very, very famous, southern Montana, northern Wyoming. He was a poet, cowboy, one of those kind of guys that never met a stranger. He could be in a room full of people talking, and he made you think that he was talking directly at you. Very few people can do that. And just a great, great man. Anybody that needed help, Irv's the first one there. And everybody that knew him loved him. And when Jimmy came up with this idea, I mean, he went to certain people that Irv knew very well and said, "Do you want in? You get in for $1, you get in for $100, it don't make any difference." And I think there's 16, 17 of us that went in. Didn't cost people nothing, but they wanted something to remember Irv by. And did a good job. So that's, I mean, as far as Sheridan's concerned, Bernie, Montana, Kirby, Montana, I don't know how many people are going to be at the national finals watching bucket, but it'll be well represented. And there again, one of those old guys that's gone, that can't be replaced. And hell of a steer roper.
One Pendleton.
Yeah. And like I was telling you, that steer he roped at Husky at the national finals, I'm going to say it was 1974. That son of a gun could be pulling an ox cart in Argentina. He was that big. He's huge. And he had a gray horse. And he always talked about that gray horse. Dave Bliss, who lived up there, and they roped steers together. And Dave said, that horse wasn't no good. Said, I had a better one, but he never beat him. And no, they were best of friends. He's just one of a kind. He's like that good horse, and he's this horse named right. He's named right, and
it's fascinating from our end of this deal.
Yeah.
I never met Irv. I mean, I met you, know Jimmy a little bit, and I'm not sure who all is involved in this deal. I mean, with all of them, but we get, and it's a strange thing. Like I said, genetically, that horse is a wild card. Shouldn't
be where he is.
On paper, he's not the one. But it's just fascinating
Where
how
God made him. Yeah,
exactly, and
God gave him a job.
and you guys gave us the opportunity to be a part of this deal.
Well, he's got the King family. I'd say 3 or 4 of them own shares.
Yeah,
One of the biggest real estate agents in Sheridan owns shares. Biggest ranchers in Montana. Just friends of Irv's that wanted to be involved.
yeah,
And they got involved, and they're sure loving it because Mary King and Bruce are in it, and they've got 10 seats at the finals. And she said, anybody that's in this deal will have seats tonight. That horse bucks. So that's pretty good. Those are like hen's teeth. You can show up and get them.
yeah, exactly. But it's really neat to just have all the people that have contacted us.
Yeah.
We knew Irv Alderson.
Yeah, yeah. And he, every kid, little urchin, and he needed something, he brought it to him, And there's a picture of him teaching Queen Elizabeth how to rope.
Somebody sent it to me the other day.
Yeah. And his wife was Malcolm Wallop's sister. And they had 2 daughters. And they go back to royalty. This is in Sheridan, Wyoming, where Queen Elizabeth came over there, and she had family. That's what it was.
Really?
Yeah. And it's very, very, very family oriented. And it'd be Irv's sister-in-law married Lord Porchester, who ran Queen Elizabeth Racing Stables.
Really?
Yeah. And Herb Dents, which Billy Dents was a calf roper and pretty good. He made the final several times. Well, his dad was a character. And so they go over for dinner at Wallop's, and he meets Lord Porchester. And he's country. He was country. So he's telling me the story. He said, I asked him to come help us work cattle. So he shows up the next day, and he said, he shows up in his riding habitat, and he didn't know how to ride stock saddle. He brings his own saddle. Said, we had the best time. Said, the best time. But he said, yeah, he showed up in his riding habitat. That's, oh, God. Herb Dents. And, but all those people over there, when the Queen showed up, it was elk season. And somebody said, some of the Secret Service said, you're going to have to keep those rifles out of the back of those pickups. One cowboy said, you want to make sure the Queen gets killed, tell them to do that. And said, they're not going to interrupt elk season for nobody. But she enjoyed it and loved it, and wound up going to the little grocery store downtown, meeting everybody. Very, very, very nice lady. And when it's all said and done, they're common people. They're people, and they know how to treat other people. You get some of these people that have royalty, and they treat you like you're doomkoffs. She didn't. That family treated you just like she would treat anybody else. And she might have a subject she wanted to talk to you about, but like that horse. But no, great lady, great horse person, and She taught all her children, grandchildren to ride and ride properly. I mean, English, they ride cavalry style straight up, and which is not conducive to polo. You got to be a little limber for that, but they did it, and I have great respect for them. Irv did too. Irv respected her because she talked horses. She talked cattle with him. He had the greatest respect for her, and as everybody else in the country did.
Yeah.
I mean, he told you something, that was it. That's the way it was. And never controversial, never. Somebody would be in an argument or something, he wouldn't get involved. He said, let them figure it out, and...
So here's a little part of the story you might not know. There's a really, really, really awesome high-profile podcast called Let's Freakin' Rodeo.
I've seen it.
Okay. So they did an interview with Zeke Thurston. They got online and picked a video that I had posted, and the Cowboy Channel collaborated with me on Irv's legacy. No,
Right.
I need to back up. It was just some black colt
I saw it.
at a practice, okay? That was Irv's legacy. And after that podcast, everybody forgot who Black Tie was.
Yeah.
Because they knew who Irv's legacy was for quite a while. And then the first place we bucked that horse at a pro rodeo, kid from South Dakota that I should know his name. I apologize. He was 84. They hosed him. Second guy to have him was Leighton Green. I think he was 88 or 89 and a half.
He was 88 and a half.
Went second.
Back up a little bit. Zeke Thurston went to school at Sheridan College.
Yep.
And he lived with a family called Kane. John Kane.
Yep.
John Kane, Irv Alderson raised John Kane. His father and John were the best of buddies, ranchers. And John Kane was born with Irv. And so he's not involved in this corporation, you call it, but I'm sure he would love to be. But Zeke Thurston thinks the world of him. And they think the world of Zeke. And boy can ride bucking horses.
Yeah.
He can ride bucking. And then that video, he said, I've watched the horse, I know the horse, and I can't wait to draw him. He hadn't drawn him yet, had he?
Yeah.
Maybe at the finals.
Possibly.
That would be,
Yeah.
that would be great for Irv.
Yeah. Well, and something else that just thickens this deal a little bit more is who is Gordy Alderson?
Gordy Alderson is Irv's nephew.
Okay. Bit and Spur
Bitten
Maker.
Spur Man, Arizona.
He's been on this Let's Freakin' Rodeo podcast also.
Yeah.
Like somehow we got to tie all of this stuff together around this one little horse.
It all goes back to rodeo, and it all goes back. Gordy's father was Alan Alderson, and he was partners with Irv on that ranch when their parents passed away.
Okay.
And Irv bought him out, and I can't remember what year, but they moved to western Montana and had a ranch there. They had ranched for years. And then Alan kind of retired. Gordy got into I think he might have team roped a little bit, but got into bits and spurs, and he's damn good at it. And actually, Alan had him make me a bit. It's got my initials on it and everything. I wouldn't take a whirl for it. And Gordy, he's a prankster. He'd have Irv going. He'd call him saying he's the IRS and he's going to be better to pick up, and Irv would fall for it, They're best of buddies. And no, they were. Gordy is a character. He's more outgoing than Irv. Irv is a little quieter, but just as ornery. Just as ornery. And Alan didn't know how to take any of them. He didn't know how to take his brother, didn't know how to take his son. But yeah, they're great family, great people. And Irv always said they came from Alderson, West Virginia. Well, that's where the ladies' prison is. He said, I had a lot of relatives that went to school there, just making jokes. But to come all the way from West Virginia, Big Bones and Little Bones was their father and uncle, and they started that dude ranch there in Bernie, ran it for years and years and years. And like I said, there's a lot of Easterners, big-moneyed Easterners that would come out there. They became friends with them.
Yeah.
That involved in polo. And they'd say, where are you from? Well, do you know Irv Alderson, Alan Alderson? Yes. Yes. Well, I went to the Dude Ranch for years, and my sister and they knew everybody. They knew everybody, and I've never heard a bad word spoken about either one of them.
Yeah.
Never. And but he was one of a kind, and this Buccaneer is probably the best legacy you could give him. Really is. I heard that Bobby Harris is going to have a scholarship for Sheridan College.
Yeah.
In Irv's name.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Yeah. Well, and Jimmy.
Yeah.
In the group, I guess, is behind this.
Yeah. And of course, Bobby knew him since he was a kid. Mm-hmm. And
Jimmy told me a story about Cade Costello. He got on that horse at Dillon. And Jimmy told me that at the bronc match in Jordan, when Cade was 10 years old, he met Irv Alderson.
Yeah.
And said he thought he was John Wayne.
Yeah. And they every year to Miles City, they sat in the Bison Barn. He said he would just, whatever Irv said, he just melted, just whatever he said.
Yeah.
And but that's Irv. He had that magnetism where people just drifted to him, you know. And he'd go to the bucking horse sale every year. I don't think he ever saw a horse buck on Saturday.
Yeah.
He was holding court to Bison Bar. He might make it there Sunday afternoon, but everybody, if you go into the bucking horse sale, you had to go to Bison Bar to see Irv. And just Pied Piper. He was just a Pied Piper. Great man. And miss him every day. And he could take the worst day you had and make it into tolerable. You know, might not make it great, but it would be better when he left. Yeah. So, Jimmy, he kind of adopted Jimmy when Jimmy came up here. There again, Jimmy, son Rosenset and Irv Alderson, and Irv really liked him, and they'd go to Pendleton or somewhere. He'd go with them and drive mostly because Denny couldn't drive very far, and he'd get them there, and he just loved to be around them. And there again, Irv knew everybody in Pendleton, knew everybody in Cheyenne. You know, he got mad, didn't get mad, but he was very disappointed when they wouldn't let him park in the contestants' parking down in Cheyenne. He not get mad. He just, you know, they won't let me in.
Yeah.
So, but
well, what? I'm glad we got all that out about Irv. And if anybody's listening to this and they got an Irv story, let me know.
Please, I'd love to hear them. I could hear them all week.
Yeah.
And no two of them be the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's Bill King, probably got stories. Bruce, Mary, all those guys in Montana. Waddy Taylor, Jay Taylor, the Taylors, God. He's connected. He's connected a lot of people.
Yeah.
And brought good to a lot of people.
And he still is.
He still is.
Yeah.
And no, he's never met a stranger. A woman walked into the room, his hat came off. He treated them like royalty. What do you need? You need anything? He was the ultimate gentleman, men or women, but the women were special. He took very good care of women, like he was taught to do. Yeah, and very special, very special. Well, we've lied about everything now.
Yeah, we probably better wrap this up, huh?
Well,
I got a couple more questions.
Okay.
How do you become a 10-goal polo player as opposed to an 8 or a 7?
You first of all is you got to have natural ability. Horsemen, probably the major factor. And there again, it's keeping those horses at the right place at the right time. A lot of people made it to 9 goals, didn't make it to 10. It should have went to 10. That 10th goal is politics. It's like in anything else. It's politics. I don't care what they tell you. I was good enough in the 70s. I should have went to 10 in the 70s. But it wasn't fashionable to have a 10-goal player come from the West, especially Texas. East Coast hated Texans. Then when I got to winning so much, and they probably couldn't beat me, they couldn't put a team together to beat me, they said, well, the only way we're going to hurt him is put him to 10 so he'd have less of a team. It didn't work. I just worked harder. And when you go to 10 goals, it's like being Rocker Steiner. You got a target on your back that you couldn't miss with 30-30. And now I'm just picking him as an example, not that.
Good example.
And so anything he does, he's going to be cocky. Any sane thought he has, people are going to be against it. Then there's going to be somebody that's going to try to take advantage of it. If they can put a goal on me, that means that the team that I'm going to be on is going to be less of a team than I was when I was 9. Mm-hmm. It's easier to make a 2 or 3 goal player play double his handicap than it would be for me to double mine. So I worked with those guys. I got them playing better than they were playing before. And that's where really the 10 goals came from, was getting my team prepared.
So who says he's a 10-goal player?
Other players.
Voting system? Or
It's they have committees. They have a national committee. Then they've got committees at each, like Texas, Oklahoma, they have a committee there. The big Northwest, they've got a committee. Chicago had a major committee. And it's other players evaluating you. And like I said, there's players that I played with, the Berry Boys, should have been 10. They never made it. But that's because they were basically country. Mm-hmm. And the East Coast didn't like that. So,
how many 10-goal polo players was there when you were playing polo?
None in the States.
How many in the world?
4.
4.
Argentines. And the year I went to 10, a Mexican went to 10 too. Mexican national. He played up here. He later became American citizen. But Memo Gracita, great player.
So, to your knowledge, I just want to explain to people how big of a deal it is to be a 10-goal polo player.
It's like you win the Open. It's like winning the world. If you're 10 goals, you're going to get one of the last 3 slots in the bucket horse in Saddlebrook. Mm-hmm. You know, they've got a big target on your back, but if you ride, you're going to not be 83, you're going to be 87. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
They're expecting more out of you.
Yeah.
And but there again, you get there, it's hard to stay there. Yeah. You can't have a bad game. You can't have a bad horse. I could sell 100 horses, and nobody'd say a word. I sell one bad one, everybody knows it.
Yeah.
So I never did. If somebody didn't get along, I'd take it back, give them another one.
Yeah.
But that was my personal guarantee that they'd suit.
Yeah.
You know? And there's a lot of politics, and playing against the Argentines helped me more a lot. I went down there and played with them down there, but when they started coming to the States, was a fair test. You know, they're on our ground, our fields, their horses, but playing and did all right. Did all right against them.
Yeah,
they'd beat me and I'd beat them, but those good ones never said a word. Juan Carlos Harriet's the best polo player in the world. He was a farmer, and he farmed, raised cattle and farmed, had a little bunch of brood mares, best horses in Argentina. He would play, and I beat him twice in my career. Beat him once in Spain, beat him once in Palm Beach. That whistle would blow, that helmet would come off, He'd ride up to shake your hands. I really enjoyed playing with you. You played a hell of a game. I'm a gentleman on the field and off the field. And I never will forget that. A lot of those guys, they just ride off. They wouldn't shake hands. They wouldn't, but the good players were gentlemen.
Yeah.
And I tried to be as emulate them as much as I could. Well, it did any good or not, I don't know. It's tough to say thank you with a snarl, but we did. And 15 minutes, it's all over.
Yeah.
I did get that guy with the gold necklace, so boy, I got him.
Well, is there any?
No, I could talk all day about the ranch in Argentina, about the stuff that's happened down there, but this is pretty well takes care of my life, what I've done. And there again, I've done a lot of things all over the world that most people don't get a chance to do. And I think it was one of the presidents said, if you've got a polo handicap, you've got a passport to the world. And that's damn sure right. Don't make any difference where you go. If somebody's playing polo, they'll know you. And the red carpet comes out, and they treat you like God. And same way, Irv Alderson, when you went to his place, you'd have thought that place was meant for you. Come in, it just, and polo had nothing to do with Irv.
Yeah.
He knew about it, but that was it. That's basically the reason we retired in Sheridan, because nobody knew what a 10-goal player was. I started answering questions. And so when I went there, I was just Tommy Wayman. I wasn't 10 goals and all this kind of stuff. And that's why we stayed. Memo Gracita came by to visit, buy horses. And we're sitting on a picnic table out there by the clubhouse. He said, why did you retire here? I said, you see those mountains? He said, yes. I said, you can buy them in Colorado, Utah, Montana, Wyoming. I said, but why I stayed here's the people. The people make this community, and it does. Once you get in Sheridan and you meet two people, they know six, and you know you. And it doesn't make any difference what you did before. They love hearing tales, like we're talking, but I don't have to go into a place and go to Holden Court, which that's what I like. But Rosie, she just fell into it. This gal born in Midland, went all over the world, met we met the king of Spain, and he called me Tommy. Not very many people get to hear that. Mm-hmm. And asked me about that black horse. He won the best playing pony in 5 tournaments in a row there. But no, kid from Osage County. I've done some things that nobody else has done from Osage County. Maybe Ben Johnson, and he won the Academy Award at yeah. And that's another thing that I was thrilled about. They put me in that Ben Johnson Museum there in Pawhuska, but just over in the corner. But that's all right. That's all right. I went to school with Kelly Corbin. Turned out calves for him. He's roping calves, and I had a couple of horses down there to go over and ride them. Walt Garrison, great. Rosie and I, there again, playing polo, we'd go to finals every year. And one time I was we were walking across somewhere, and I hear this guy say, Wayman. Looked up, and it was Walt. I hadn't seen him since he graduated. Come over, said, come sit with us. Oh, take these, see you there tomorrow night. Well, it was Copenhagen Skybox. The first time I'd ever been in there. And Charlie Daniels showed up, and we all sat there just talking about old times and having a great time. I guess you do that when you get old. I don't know. But, yeah. And then we saw Ike and a lot of people, Jimmy Davis, raised with him. He's younger, but just as ornery as they could get. I don't know how he stayed out of jail, but he was ornery. Yeah. It'd snow once a year there, and they'd catch him throwing snowballs. You know, that's kind of Jimmy.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, I could sit here and listen to these all day.
Well, you know, maybe we'll do it again. Maybe do it again. I can look back at old magazines, and I'll tell you a story that was comical to me. Cartier hired 4 of us, American, to play.
Okay, Cartier. Is
The
that
watch company.
Okay, yeah.
And they hired us to play in the World Cup in Palm Beach. And the deal was a contract. One of the few contracts I ever signed. Play for us, you have to go to 2 parties, and one of you has to make a print ad. I don't know what print ad was. So I went from 9 to 10 that year. So they sent me San Antonio playing a little 8-goal tournament, which was nothing. That'd be like a little jackpot. And they called me, said, you need to be in L.A. You'll have tickets, first-class tickets to L.A. You'll be picked up there. You'll go to the studio. We want you to take pictures. Well, they took a picture of my arm with this wristwatch on. Beautiful watch. And I had to sit there. It took 30 minutes to take my picture, but it took 6.5 hours to get that thing right where it didn't, you know. And they decided it wasn't good enough, so they said, well, tomorrow we'll have. I said, I can't. I got to play back. They flew me all the way out to San Antonio to play in this little jackpot and flew me back out there. I just did it being ornery. And then I had to go to a cocktail reception. It was, but you're in there taking these pictures, and God, there was a famous actress that was in there at the same time. I'll think of her name. And the diver that, not Greg Louganis, the other one, he was little. But I met those guys, and they're just common people. They were just, and here I am, like I say, from Osage County, Oklahoma. And Morgan Fairchild, you talk about a body. Now, Chevrolet couldn't have made a better body. And very, very nice lady. Very nice lady. And diver, he was a good guy. But there was 2 of them. Greg Louganis was one of them. That might have been him. He gave me a card, and I never called him. But I didn't have a card. I said, just call San Antonio if you want. But you talk about Wyoming, why we went to Wyoming. There's a little, my wife said, I'm only going to retire in a place that's got more bars than churches. Well, Bighorn's got 3 bars and 1 church. And I had a brother-in-law was coming up there to see us and didn't know where I lived. And I talked to him. I said, just go to the Last Chance. They'll tell you where I live. So he goes into the Last Chance. They tell him, and here's a drink. He said, very nice people. Said, they gave me 4 or 5 drinks. I said, Jim, it's putting it on my tab, you know. Just like little stuff like that.
Yeah.
But last time we went to San Antonio, we went to a funeral. Jimmy and I got lost in the airport. We had to hire a taxi cab to get us in there. And, no, terrible. It used to be so easy to get in and out of. Now, I want to ask you something. Do you guys ship horses to Texas for the winter rodeos?
We go to Fort Worth, and that's it.
That's it?
Yeah.
Well, you get to where you want to keep horses down there, let me know, because I've got a lot of people with a lot of cutting horses that I know that I got plenty of pasture, corrals, pens, whatever you want, that you could put them up. I started to tell Rosie that last winter when I saw you. And then didn't see it Houston, San Angelo. San Angelo's got a lot of friends there. We used to play polo there. So, but,
well, if I get down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk
If
about
you
it.
get a chance to, you can, hey, haul all the way down there for one rodeos.
Exactly. That's the issue.
You know, if you got 2 or 3 rodeos, it makes it worthwhile.
Yeah.
And yeah. So.
Well, thanks for being on the podcast.
You bet.
This is awesome. Appreciate it.
Edit this, and a lot of this stuff, don't take it out. Take it out, because it doesn't have much to do with rodeo. But
Nothing wrong with that.
all right, well.
A good story is a good story.
Well, I enjoyed it. Now, we're going to head back. I want to stop at Shields, so that's
Well, we better get you out of here.
yeah. Well, thank you,
Yeah.
Wade. Appreciate it.